Bam!
Awesome.
I think we are coming in
We're
live
live.
here.
We're live. Okay, awesome.
Ladies
Awesome.
and gentlemen, welcome to the KitBash3d Festival. I am Banks, and today we are with David TIlton. Unfortunately, David is only with us via computer screen, so you're just gonna have to stare at my mug today. But David, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, good, good, good. How's it going? Thanks.
Oh man, I'm great. So as the audience knows, I'm gonna be reading the chat feed to field you questions through the day. So we got Kalina, who's stepping in the room, says, "Ask what David's cooking at me," which is in reference to what we just posted about what you're gonna be cooking up in this stream on our Instagram.
Oh,
Um,
sick.
who's in the room here with us? We got
I'm Davy Jones, by the way.
Davy Jones is in the room, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're watching the stream too? How about
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I've got it up on my second monitor.
He's watching the stream, he's talking on the stream, and he's commenting on the stream. Tell you what.
Yeah.
George Emmanuel in from Paris. Justin Goby Fields, ladies and gentlemen, says yo yo yo. Never Rager is here. When you check in with us, dude, follow George's lead and let us know where you are, what time zone you're in. Thank you all, everyone, for being here with us today. And David, let's talk a little bit about this. So, David is for y'all who don't know, is quite incredible here. He is 21 years old. He's worked on concepting for a handful of Marvel movies: Black Panther, Thor, Doctor Strange. But let's go back a little bit earlier and tell us, how does someone so young, David, get into the game so early? How'd you find out about concept art?
I think it was like through like a Game Informer magazine or something, and like looking at it, they had like an article on like I think it was like Halo 3 concept art or something. And from there I was like, oh, that's super interesting. Like I used to draw video game covers a lot, and like trace those, draw manga. So I was like, oh, this is like a actual viable job. So I started researching that, Googling it a shit ton, and finding all these people and like figuring out that this is actually possible. And then from there I started like self-teaching myself, buying Gumroads, taking Learn Squared classes.
You
And
took
just
you took Jama's class, right?
yeah, well, two of them actually, the Intro to 3D, which I did the mentorship for, and then his was it narrative concepting
So
class.
so you grew up in Boston, right?
Yeah, I'm from Boston, yeah, originally.
And so when did you catch on to Learn Squared? Was that
Um,
by the time you were already out here, or were you still in Boston?
yeah, no, I well like as back east. I say I'm from Boston. I'm really from New Hampshire. So, but
Okay. Well, yeah.
but yeah. Yeah. When I was back east, that's when I first like caught wind of the whole Learn Squared things.
Gotcha. Okay. And so then you, by taking Jama's class, that sort of really opened your mind, and was that really your formal education into concept art?
Yeah, pretty much. And then everything else I kind of structured around the whole Gumroad thing, and like pulling things from like Mache's or David Levy's tutorials, or whoever would post those up. Like Nick Shindro had a few agents on a.
There's so much out there now, so much out there so recently of stuff you can get involved in ways that you don't have to have any sort of formal classroom education. You can just make it work yourself. I love how you said you started self-teaching and became an autodidact and dove into this
Yeah,
on your own.
yeah. I think that's the best way right now. I think just because there's so much out there. Like you can literally like say if you want to. Do realistic concept, or you want to do more like say viz dev for animation, like there's everything out there, so
I don't
it's like
think
the best time.
I mean, you're so young, but you may not be able to relate to this, but I don't think there's ever been a better time to jump in and not wait for someone to give you a look, but to make your own opportunities and to teach yourself. It's such an exciting place, and I think this particular form or this part of the industry is such a great place to see that exploding.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with that.
Um,
Like,
Jumping in on the comments, we've got Mike Johnson, Mike K. Johnson in the room says, "What's up?" with two Z's. We got a shout out to the NH crew. And George Emmanuel wants to know, Davy Jones, is that from Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yeah, like okay, so my friend back in high school, John, just started naming all my flash drives and shit on my laptop that. And, I was like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. I'll stick with that. But yeah, he got it from the whole Pirates of the Caribbean
That's
thing.
funny, man. Okay, so then you worked. Where are you? What are you currently on now?
Right now I'm just getting off of a vacation. I was telling you about this before the stream. Like I went to Trojan Horse with a Unicorn over in
Mm-hmm.
Portugal, and just got back from that, and went to a few other events prior to that. So I've just been
Anything you can tell us about Trojan Horse
um
from an insider's look?
go just go
Go.
to it. It's crazy. It's like you learn so much. You get to interact with all your heroes and stuff in a casual setting, so there's like no way to beat it. You like it's if you can ever in your life, if you have a chance to go, do it. And you know that's
That's
pretty much it.
that's,
Yeah.
that's just what Justin said about it too last week on the stream. Any particular hero you were excited to see or run into?
Yeah, so a couple like Ben Morrow was
Mm-hmm.
a big one, like him and a buddy of mine, Finian, we and I we had a talk it started at like midnight or something. We kept talking until like 4 a.m. Just
Nice.
like sipping on beers, but
Mm-hmm.
talking about like how to approach this career, and how to in this case it was like how to travel and be a freelancer, because Ben Morrow,
That's his
that's
thing.
that's his thing exactly.
Yeah.
And both me and Finian were really interested in how to approach that, so we were like asking the master at it.
Right, right.
Uh,
For those of you out there on the stream who hasn't seen it, Ben has a awesome video about how to freelance from the road. I'll post it in here too.
Yeah, that video was a really cool insight. So, being able to push that further and like ask more based on that was super cool. Another one was Ian McCaig and Carlo Ortiz. I met both of them
Sweet.
and had a chance to have like a dinner with them as well. So that was a crazy like experience, because it was completely impromptu. Because I think at the end of THU they have this barbecue, right? And it's everybody lines up so to get food, right? And
Mm-hmm.
in this case, it was a 900 person or so line. So, and I was walking back with Carla and Ian's daughter Mishi and her husband Rob, and they were like, "Oh yeah, do you just want to go get dinner somewhere else?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then from there, it was like I had an opportunity to sit down with these amazing artists and just have like a normal kind of like dinner setting, and not be like surrounded with a bunch of other people asking questions and stuff.
So fun. I think that's one of the best things I see about the visual effects side of things. Is for the most part, it's a pretty friendly, welcoming environment, and
Yeah, totally.
it's that's such an interesting sort of gem within entertainment as a whole, which is not a terribly friendly and welcoming environment.
Yeah, there's a lot of politics, that's for sure.
Um, yeah, man. Well, let's Oh, Bien QP has joined us. What's up, man? He's been with us for this whole thing. By the way, coming down to our last week of the KitBash3d Festival, thank you so much to everyone who has joined us for these streams and brought your comments. And we have a KitBash3d sample contest going on right now, and it's been really great to just see all the work that's come out of that and the people who have been involved. So thank you. And Kalina says David is a networking master with an A.
I guess, yeah, sure.
Well, let's jump in. Let's jump into a demo here, man. What are you going to show us?
Yeah, totally. Let me open this really quick. So I've prepared a Sia in Cinema 4D using the Gothic KitBash kit that you guys have seen a lot if you've been tuning in, within the past few weeks.
Yeah, the
Um,
Gothic kit is quite popular. Oh,
yeah, yeah.
there you have all your side pieces just laid out.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so if I shut this guy off, and this as well, I think. So this is just the kit by itself, which, it was really well made. When I first got it, I was like kind of like, whoa, you know, because I never model this clean at all. You know, my modeling's super messy, so seeing stuff like this with like, you know, like really clean topology and stuff, and you know, like nice clean wireframes and shit, like I was like, this is amazing. I want to do this now. So since getting this, I've been trying to improve my modeling.
Yeah, our modelers on this are so rad. We linked up actually with Ironclad, Justin Field Studio, and have done some work with them on these. I think having clean geo and making them UV and tileable was so important to the whole process and what we were trying to do when bringing out you know, something of this quality.
Yeah, it's a big help, especially I imagine for map painters. So you know, when approaching that kind of stuff, you want something that's not going to destroy your machine and slow you down a ton. You know, and if I was modeling something out for a production, you know, they'd all hate me.
Funny, man. Okay, so then so you've done a bit of an assembly here already.
Yeah, so let me turn that on. So, you know, I just wanted to throw a castle together really quick. Some semblance of a cool design.
When you, I see all your different camera angles. When you are building a concept, how much of the narrative rests in the forefront of your brain?
That's number one, I think. You know, just trying to nail something that will convey the mood I want or the story that I'm telling in an image is really important. So, you know, like, depending on whether you want something that's like, well, this thing's massive, you know, go for a super low angle and well, if this lets me, you know, like something like that. Versus like if you want something more ominous, you know, you'd have something like looking down from like back here or something, you know?
Yeah.
Like that or something like that. So it really depends on what you want to do and the story you're trying to tell, but I think that should be your first thing, and then, you know, design as well, I think, are coupled in those two, and that's like they tie for that first place, I think. Yeah.
I'm just looking down the comment feed here. We've got.
Yeah, I'm checking it too.
If you want, I can monitor that. You got enough on
Oh,
your brain,
okay.
I'm sure.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
We got Scott Trail, who's tuning in from Toronto. Yes, Charlie is his name. Yes, this is David Tilton. I know it's got Derek Zabraki written there at the bottom, but Learn Square is more busy.
Hi, my name's Derek. No.
This is in fact David. And Kalina helped him out already. And Charlie says that you guys met at Edge Control.
Charlie. Wait, what? Oh, okay, yeah. Hey, what's up?
What up, Charlie Chuckles, man? Oh, what are you doing in town? Justin Goby Fields says shout out to Josh Cotter, indeed.
Oh yes,
Josh, who was our modeler on the Gothic kit that you were looking at. George says Corona into place.
Yes.
Wubba-lubba-lubba-dubba-bub.
Oh, that Rick and Morty. Woo.
And Jim Ross is here. Thanks, man. Are each of these archers modeled separately and then replicated? What do you think, David?
Yeah, like so it's like, okay, so with this kit they give you you know, a bunch of different elements, from like more like cathedral bits to you know, spires, walls with you know, flying buttresses and stuff, towers, and then the arches back here. So I just pretty much took one of these arches and just, you know, duplicated it over and over again and scaled it to the size of the rest of the castle. You know, and tried to do this pretty much. If that answers your question.
Yeah, I think that hits it. Showing Charlie through it. I've got a question for yes, it is pick and place, Charlie. I've got a question for anyone in the stream. How many of you all have a kit already? And what kit do you have? And if you don't have a kit, do you have the sample kit? And are you working on something for the contest? Shoot it to us in the chat there. Yeah. So see how Charlie how he's picking and placing here and building a wall.
Yeah.
With a lot of the kits too, we have them broken down into the tiniest pieces that you can then build however you want.
Yeah, I think was it the Neo Tokyo one is like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the site too. If you go to the site, George has got the Neo Tokyo kit and Bien's got the Gothic kit. Are you guys working on them? Be sure when you guys do mention us, post at us so we can check them out and repost them. And Charlie says he doesn't have one. He came from a Bentley software background of engineering. So are you just now getting into 3D, Charlie? George is going to work on his as soon as possible. Never Rager says most of the artists use the Gothic kit. That is true, Never Rager. We saw Emmanuel Shu use all 4 of the kits at once. We've seen several of the guys use the Neo Tokyo kit. We saw Art Deco with Nick Hyatt last week. But you're right, most of the work that's come out of this so far is the Gothic kit. I believe, and tell me what you think on this, David. When did you get the kit?
It was like probably 2.5, 3 weeks ago now.
So right before.
Right before you guys dropped the website, yeah.
Yeah. So the thing, the answer there, Never Rager, I think, is that the Gothic kit came out first, and so it was available to the guys on the festival, so they were able to crack it open and get working with it. Will we make a school price? Will you make a discount like by the end of the week or next week, George? 2 very good questions. Will we make a discount like by the end of the week or next week? We will probably, good question, George, on this stream release a discount code from David during this stream. So let us know. Stick with us here, and you might just get a coupon code today. And then George also says, will we make a school price? George, do you mean a educational price, like for a school or for a student? Question for David says, Bien, what are you using for your landscape meshes? Cinema 4D's native or something like Unity or World Machine?
Yeah, I just use the Cinema 4D's native landscape tool. So like if I blow one of these up, you got this thing where you can pretty much, it gives you like a rather basic height map representation.
And then how do you dress the terrain?
So from there, it's got different seeds you can mess around with and look for one that's, close to what you want. And then from there you can scale it. And then once you do that, depending on which renderer you can use, well, all renderers have, bump maps and displacements and stuff like that. So I use Corona. So in Corona, you've got, this loads up, you got your displacement map here, and you can set the attenuation of how much the height map affects the actual texture, and then from there I just throw it onto the landscape, and then when the render runs, it calculates all that information and gives you a nice looking terrain looking thing pretty much. Yeah, but you can set this to create. Oh, that's too much. But yeah, you can change how high it gets. So for this, because I wanted to show scale, I set it to where it was decently high, so you'd have ridges and mountains and stuff. But you can have it do subtle things as far as just really almost nothing showing. And I did that with the stones on the castle to give it a bit more fidelity.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll shut that off while I'm actually working.
And then you used Terrain Party, you told me to.
Oh right, yeah. Let me alt tab to that really quick. So terrain.party is a website that gives you height map information pretty much anywhere in the world. So you pretty much just take this blue square here, and you can change the distance of it like how wide it spreads, pretty much the range you get. So you can change it from like say like 100 kilometers or whatever all the way down to like I think it's like zero 0.5 or something like that. But it gives you a lot of range as far as the different environments you can get because
Yeah, you do it wherever.
if I do one in like the Mojave over here versus like the Russian tundra or something,
Yeah, totally.
you can get a completely drastic terrains, and it's super useful, really
Yeah.
quick. And
Terrain.party. It's a super handy little tool that you
I'll
can.
throw it in the chat. Yeah.
Right on, man. You're on it. You are on it.
Cool.
Bam, right there in the chat. Pool Sid asks, "How often do you use Blender?" Question mark.
Blender, okay, I use a lot at work, but I started using Cinema 4D as my main poly modeler when I was, starting out. So whenever I'm home or something, I like using that. But if I'm modeling, like if I'm doing like heavy modeling stuff, I'll open up Blender and go into there because it's way quicker than Cinema 4D. As far as like all the hotkeys and like plugins like Box Cutter and Hard Ops, you can get really high fidelity models really quickly.
Yeah, and in with your client work, everything's about speed, right?
Yeah, exactly. So when it comes to client work and also the fact that it's free is makes companies really happy.
Yeah. George Emmanuel says educational is what he's looking for. George, great question. Thank you for that. Email us at info@kitbash3d.com, and we'll get you all set up, my man. Scott, who is Charlie, says, I've known 3D for many years. I've been working in the consulting industry, in engineering consulting, where everything had been modeled from basic components. Last project I worked on was a modeling rebar in 3D. And then he says, that is a great hydro dam that you have there, I think. The last project I was on had 300,000 cubic yards of concrete and 30,000 tons of rebarb, all modeled with Bentley products. This looks like so much more fun. That does sound like a complex project, man. And Lucas Brzeski says, this tool rocks! Exclamation point. Right on, Lucas. I saw you on Instagram this morning, man. Thank you for liking our posts and participating with us. George says, why not using a real-time render viewport like Octane Sheep question?
I've been jumping around, so I've got Redshift on here, I've got Octane, but I just like the look that Corona gives me. Like there's something about it that makes it really good for paint overs for me, because like Octane, like it's good for like work and stuff, and that's why I use at work. And like if I'm doing matte painting stuff, I'll use Redshift. But it just gives something like a little softness to the render, and then from there it makes it, for me at least, a bit easier to go over and paint over the thing. Though it's quicker, so if you want speed, use like a GPU render.
And so this CPU render is how you render these coming out of Cinema 4D?
Yeah, exactly. I'll show it. I have a Photoshop file of.
No need to rush. We got time, and we're enjoying watching you do your thing, man.
Okay, cool. But yeah, I've got a few pre-made renders that I'll be working on top of in like a bit. So I'll show you what those came out to look like.
Justin Goby Fields says, "Dat softness with a
yeah, boy."
Never Rager says, "I tried Corona Render in Cinema when it was released, and it was not stable. Is it okay now?"
It's more stable than it was on release, and they're still working on it. So give it a bit, and it should be good to go. But yeah, it's getting there.
Who was it that said you were a master networker? He's also judicious, folks. Julio says, "Sexy Zabraki." Well, Derek is not with us today. It's just mislabeled. But Julio, thanks for joining us. And bring your questions. Oh man, Kalina is on it. between David marking all his things in the comments and Kalina cleaning up all the answers, I'm gonna go like get lunch or something. You guys.
Yeah. Oh man. Let's see, Mr. Upton.
Kind of know him when he was back in Nashville. Kalina says she remembers you from Nashville.
Oh wait, she spelled that wrong. There. Nashua.
Nashua.
New Hampshire. It's a suburb of Boston. It's like an hour north, but I just say I'm from Boston for everybody else because it's easier to remember.
Because it's easier, yeah.
Yeah.
I say I'm from New York and DC because pretty much that's the only thing I think people know over there.
Yeah, exactly. It's in that general direction.
So you're building out some more towers.
Yeah, pretty much. Just seeing what's cool and can use. Selection.
Kalina agrees Boston is easier, and then Jim Ross with 3 S's says K Kona. Right on, Jim. Right on.
Let's see.
So I still want to know from the people in the chat stream, who, if you don't have a kit, do you have a sample kit, and what are you making with it? Have you been doing that? Have you so many of y'all have been following along with us through the stream for the last couple weeks. You've been learning some cool tips. What things have you run into? What areas do you want to learn more about? How can the artists who are here with us help you make your stuff more awesomer? I think that's a word, awesomer. Yeah, but tell us what's been going on. So much cool stuff has been coming at us through social media from the sample kit contest. David, have you been able to see any of that stuff?
Yeah. I've been checking out your Instagram posts and stuff. And it was really cool to see what everybody's making. I'll check more out once I'm done the stream because I've been tight on time. But yeah, what everybody is making is super cool.
I think it's so rad to just see people jumping in. Kalina says I was inspired by Emmanuel's block in, to do a surreal piece. I think that's so cool. Emmanuel did a thing where he took a Neo Tokyo building, turned it on its side, and turned it into a spaceship.
Oh really? Shit, that's awesome.
He said he will have a piece finished from that sometime later this week, so we can all check it out. But yeah, he was the first one to mix all the 4 kits, and like what he talked about. I think Emmanuel is just so insightful, and if you know anything about him, he's got so much endless experience in this space, and he talked about looking at the pieces not as styles but as shapes, and then how do you take the shapes and make something that you want out of that, which I thought was so cool. George Emmanuel asks, how do you spend your time on a picture? Like a third of the time on 3D software and 2/3 of the time in Photoshop? ?
So it really depends on if it's personal work. I'll try to push the painting side of things and make it say 1/3 or even at some point 0% 3D. But if it's for production stuff, then it's usually 2/3. Sometimes if I have time, I'll push it to like a really good finish in 3D using filters and stuff within the software. But it really depends. But yeah. And if that answers your question.
It depends on what look you're trying to achieve. And
yeah, exactly. Like if I want a painterly thing, I won't model everything out in 3D because then I'd have to take away a ton of detail and that would take up time. But if I'm going for a super high fidelity image, borderline matte painting look, or like if you guys know Steve Messing, like that kind of quality, then I'll really push the 3D and really get in there and try to do what the guys that modeled this kit did.
Steve Messing quality, like Avatar stuff.
Yeah, Avatar stuff, exactly, or Prometheus or whatever.
Yeah, lo-fi.
Yeah, exactly.
I think thinking about how you sort of modeled Yama as you were getting into it and just listening a little bit more into your process, I think you have such a great sense of how to take inspiration from other people, from other parts of the business, and really make something work for you in that. You're almost kit bashing inspiration as you go.
Yeah, pretty much. Like when I, got into this and wanted to do this as a career, like I saw a lot of people in my group of like friends and like colleagues, as far as like the younger group of people starting out, they'd take too much inspiration, I guess. Like at the time, at least, it looked like that. So you'd end up with a lot of like copycat looking people.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't want that, and like I did fall into that for a bit, but like I noticed like, oh, okay, my stuff is starting to look exactly like Mache's now. That's not good, you know, because they just end up hiring Mache over me, you know. So um, I started to branch out and put a bunch of different styles together, studying a bunch of artists, like old and new. So like, going back to Zorn and Soraya and like those master painters and contemporary guys, or well, I guess contemporary masters such as like Mullins, Mache for Jama, like all these
Yeah,
guys.
messing.
Yes, Messing, Jamie Jones, like the list goes on,
Uh-huh.
and just pulling from every realm possible and just going at it and seeing what you can put together, pretty much.
I think that's such an important process for everyone. I don't know any artist, any director who doesn't talk about having this visual spice rack, of like influences that they've collected along the way, and they can give it a piece of of something they learned from someone whom they respected along the way.
Yeah, exactly.
I
So
think that's what
it's
kit bashing is.
yeah,
It's
it's
taking
exactly that.
right, it's taking styles and interpretations, and then adding to it, and making it something of your own.
Yeah, exactly. So if you just take the principles of kit bashing and apply it to your life, everything should work out, you know?
One kit bash in the morning.
Yeah.
Speaking of the morning, do you have a morning routine?
Yeah, so I usually start off my days by, like stretching and a quick workout, make breakfast, and then I start figure drawing.
By
Uh,
hand.
by hand, yes.
Super cool.
I've got like 5 sketchbooks full of horrible figures, and but they're getting better, so I'm keeping it up, and that's like something that I want to really get good at, not having to use 3D for characters in my work anymore. That's my goal. So I've been, learning the anatomy, learning gesture, and all that, and trying to get to a point where I can be like, like Andrew Loomis or something.
So great. Love to have the inner disciplines.
Yeah.
Um, George Emmanuel asked VR. Are you using Medium or Gravity Sketch?
Yeah, so I used to use it at work a lot. I just haven't invested in an Oculus yet.
Mm-hmm.
But Gravity Sketch and Tilt Brush for a bit.
Sweet. Well, you can come over to the office too if you want to jump in on some VR
Ooh,
stuff.
I might take up that proposal.
We're big on VR here,
Ooh.
or at least I am. Question: XX Bellanova asks, "Do you do portfolio reviews?"
Yeah. If you want, I still think I'm not qualified for that in a way. Like,
He's humble, folks.
but if you want, sure. It's always, good to help out and stuff. And, everybody's at a different point in their journey. So if I'm slightly ahead of you and if you can get something out of advice from me, go, yeah, sure, totally.
Such a beautiful part of coming from a person who values advice, as you were talking about. To be able to return it and pay it forward and give it back, I think is so
Yeah,
awesome.
it's super important, I think, like giving back in, any way to the community because, whether it's tutorials or, giving portfolio reviews and, like all over the spectrum of that, it's like super duper important.
Charlie, our resident engineer here in the chat room, says, David, are you building the models one to one? Is there a setup for dimensions, etc.?
Right now, no, but yes, you can. Like if you look down here, you've got everything based on centimeters. You can change your values to inches or feet, meters, or whatever your respective and preferred form of measurement is. But for this one, I just, quickly wanted to throw something together. And, like if you put a person next to this, the scale would be completely off, I bet. But that's where the paint over comes in.
There you go. And then he also asks, are these nodes alignment points to make it easier to connect the components, or how does it work?
Right now, I'm just doing it manually, but you can snap to grid and, set things up. But considering that this is like a bit older of a kit, as far as like, it's a Gothic kit, I didn't want everything to be, exactly on point with each vert or whatever and aligning them to where it's like, perfect 90-degree angles and perfect 45s and stuff. So I'm just eyeballing it right now, and I think that will help in the final result of a painting.
Bang! We've got Max Berman in the chat room, ladies and gentlemen. Max says, David, firstly, this is looking dope. Secondly, what kind of kit do you want to see in the future? Question mark.
What kind of kit? Huh, okay. Something maybe organic, like organic buildings would be interesting. Like, maybe like, I don't know how you'd approach this, but like something made out of like coral or like carved in the rock, maybe like Petra in Jordan.
Oh, that's a cool idea. Have you been out to Jordan?
No, but it's on my list once I save up enough money to go out there.
Yeah.
But I'd love to go check out like all those old structures out there, the ruins and stuff. Do like my own little Indiana Jones
Totally.
expedition.
Yeah, I think in Petra they've got an enormous like 2,500 person amphitheater. Where,
yeah, which is.
I just think it's so cool that telling stories to a large live audience has been a thing for that long.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that like. As far as like technology, we've improved, but as far as like the function and use of the new technology, it's really similar to a lot of the older stuff. We just improve upon it.
And it's still the basic instinct and desire of it is to share, and then the way we do it, whether that's in Cinema 4D or sung around a campfire, is the same. The through line of human history is that we want to connect our stories.
Yeah, exactly. Like storytelling is the base for everything, even movies.
Yeah.
It's just your books. Like you said, it goes throughout the ages.
We've got. I think the word I'm looking for, says Charlie. I think the word I'm looking for is associated in terms of relationship of one element to another when scaling/changing. Associated.
So like, are you like wondering if like if I wait? Let me read this question. Yeah.
Oh wait, here we go. In Sketchbook, you can start with a rough sketch.
Rough sketch, then apply dimensions to update all the components with scope. I think you can do that. I've never tried. Like most of the time, I just end up doing what I'm doing now and just eyeballing stuff or putting in the values manually. But a lot of CAD programs you can do that, from what I understand. Like I know you can do that in Fusion 360, and that's how I'd approach like more hard surface and super accurate kind of stuff.
Max in here, circling back to the Petra thing, says Zaha Hadid ?
Yes.
And then Bien says a Socotra Island kit. Kalina says Gaudi with the question mark. And what else we got here now? Oh, she says they must have been great comedians. I think she's speaking about Petra.
Oh yeah.
And then George Emmanuel wants a spaceship pack. That's a cool idea, George.
Ooh, spaceship or like a space station maybe. That could be cool.
A space station.
Yeah, being able to KitBash a space station, that'd be amazing.
You've heard it, Max. That would be amazing. Charlie says, if you change one element, can you drag the others with the change? So
Yeah, yeah. So like, you can group stuff, and if that's what he's asking, you can group stuff and move it together.
I think that is, or I think he's saying if you took a grouping, can you make the whole thing grow at the same rate?
Yeah, exactly. Like this one, like that pretty much. Or I think, it inverts it if you do that. That's kind of cool.
You should check it out, Charlie. Grab the sample pack off of our website. Charlie says, as an example, the cathedral is dwarfed by the ramparts. Can you grab and scale? Yep. He just answered that.
Yeah.
There is a little bit of a delay between our real-time conversation and what comes on the Twitch stream. So
yeah. I'm trying to look 5 questions above. Let's see. I should put a door in there somewhere.
And you wanted we were gonna jump in to Photoshop. Maybe we do that in
a couple minutes.
Yeah, we can go over time if it's cool with you.
Yeah. I'm fine.
Me and the people don't have a hard out, but I want to be respectful of your time and not push over the hour, unless you're down, and then we can go as long as you want.
Yeah, no, totally. However long people will be interested, I guess. So
Well, speaking of that, I've just been alerted that there is a coupon code courtesy of David. If you type in TILT 15, that's TILT 15, tilt 15, all caps on the tilt, you will get 15% off your entire order. So if you go on to KitBash3d.com and use that coupon code for now until the end of David's stream, you can go ahead and pick up any kit you want, or even a couple kits at 15% off. So thank you, David, for being part of this and for bringing that coupon code to the people.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I think it's so cool. When we started, when we set out to do this and we got talking to all the artists actually said, this is awesome. While we're streaming, let's put out a coupon code to the people as a thank you for those who are tuning in with us live and engaging with us. So I think that's awesome. Julio says, wow, an awesome exclamation point. George Emmanuel says a Bauhaus pack. I don't know what a Bauhaus is. What's a Bauhaus, David?
Let's see. I'll just show you a picture of this. It's
okay.
Easier to. It's really it's not brutalistic, but it's an offshoot of it. Like if you imagine modern architecture, or what your impression of it would be.
Okay.
I guess this is a good example. This kind of, really kind of clean, futuristic looking.
Mm-hmm.
But still has that kind of 80s vibe,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kalina chimes in minimalist, the German art movement.
Yeah, that's what it is. Thank you, Kalina.
Yeah, thank you all for schooling me. Basically one of the bases for it. Yeah, right on. We'll score. These are all great ideas. Keep them coming, you guys. Our goal with KitBash3d is to be of value and a resource for you. So if you have ideas, if you have things, if you want to get involved and interact with us, that's what we're here for. That's what we want to do. That's why we're doing this festival, and that's why we're doing the sample kit contest, and that's why we're doing all the things we're doing on social media. So please jump in with us, get involved with us, and help us figure out how we can help you. To quote Jerry Maguire, I think that is. That's not a direct Jerry Maguire quote. I'm just saying we're trying to be an agent for you. There we go. Followed the train of thought. David, what are some of your favorite movies of all time? It doesn't even have to be your favorite movie, but what just sprung to your mind right now?
Ex Machina is a good one.
Boom. We were just talking about that last night. The new trailer for was it Annihilation? Is that his
Oh
next
yeah,
movie?
yeah, the next one. Yeah, that looks crazy.
Yeah, right.
So like that's a good one. The original Blade Runner, Empire Strikes Back, Indiana Jones, Last Crusade, and Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of original Blade Runner, you worked on the new one, right? You did concepts for
Yeah,
2049.
yeah, post-production concept stuff for, like the potential like VFX stuff because, with modern films, like a vast majority of stuff now is done in VFX and CGI.
Yeah.
So I helped him on that end while working at Rodeo Effects down here in Venice.
So rad, doing post production concept work. That's probably a great place to get in.
Yeah, like it's you have a bit more leeway as far as like I've done both pre-production and post-production while
Hmm.
being out here, so you have a bit more wiggle room as far as like the deadlines are about the same, but you have a bit more to work with as far as like you've already got there's whether it's like the actual set that they shot or like sketches
Hmm.
by previous concept guys or other people in the pipeline that have already worked on that certain shot or whatever.
Yeah. Scott asks, "What is the next steps for this model, and what is the end use?" Um, Go ahead, David. Yeah. What's the next steps, and what's the end use?
So the next step, I do a render of this, and I've already got pre-made ones because I'm going to be using a CPU render Corona for today. Um, and it's just like I don't know, I'm just approaching this to figure out a cool way to present this castle that I built here using the kit. So, like right now I'm just going around looking for cool camera angles to tell a story. Like for this one example, you could have like horsemen up here on this ridge walking towards this bit or whatever, or, dragon here. Like there's so many different stories you can tell based on these camera angles.
Um, George Emmanuel says Octane can vertically correct the camera. Can Corona or C4D do this?
Yes, C4D has a function for that, or at least the newer version of C4D does. I'm not sure. Like I'm on R17 now.
And then we've got two questions about how you got into the industry. But here, let's. Charlie's got a quick one too. He says, "Can you place figures in the model?" And yes.
Yeah, yeah, you can. I'll just throw a quick default Cinema 4D figure in here.
Cool. And then Jim Ross goes, "How did you get a job in the industry?"
Lots of emails and stuff. Kalina brought up that I was like a master networker, which is partially true, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. Like, I've had everybody on Facebook in the industry for a while, like as friends and stuff. And I was super like fortunate that I did it the way that I did, as far as like I was adding people that I admired, like like Ash Thorpe, Mache, and like the guys on here, for example. Um, Before I even was like making good work. So by the time I started making good work, at least this is the way that I hope it went. They saw me progressing, um, and I think that helped, like, get some notice. But
And
as far as getting a job,
through social media, is that how you got connected with Max?
yeah, actually, pretty much everybody I know in the industry, that's how I got like in contact with them.
Mm-hmm. It's a digital business. And what kind of experience did you have to have before applying for your first in-house job?
First in-house job, like experience-wise, maybe do like a few freelance gigs, like small ones. Maybe get some like publications out. I did a few things for 3D Total for their 2D Artist magazine, and I imagine that helped as far as like persuading like the HR people to let me through to
Mm-hmm.
the art director or whatever.
Give you the credibility and
Yeah,
something to
exactly.
point to, really. You know, a
Exactly.
key piece on your resume on your way in the
Yeah,
door.
exactly.
Well, Charlie, to circle back on your question about the figure, you see how the David
Oh, right.
has
Let's hear.
dropped a figure in here. Pretty simple to
Yes.
do in Cinema 4D, but if you want to see some other examples of that, watch Nick Hyatt's stream with us. The first one he did 2 weeks ago, he takes a figure into, he takes a dragon and brings it in, and he shows a bit about how he rigged it, and how that incorporates into his scene. Also, we had Alex Fagini on the stream, on the KitBash3d Festival stream last Monday, and he is among concept art. He is also a fantastic character designer, and he took two of his classic characters and put them into work in his stream as well, in a really cool stream. He did most of his in Photoshop, but go check out those two streams if you want to see how a figure can really become the focal piece of this, and then use the environments to build out around you. You know, actually, also, oh well, never mind. I was gonna say, check out Jan Urschel put out a piece using the Neo Tokyo kit where he took his now famous character, the lady with the umbrella, and put it into a Neo Tokyo scene, which is really cool to see that character, whom we've seen through so much of Jan's personal work, pop up in a KitBash3d thing. Was awesome. Max Berman says, "Watch them all." I guess I could ramble about them for a while. And Charlie says, "I was prompted by David's comment about placing a couple of horsemen in the scene."
Oh, yeah. I might do that for not like I'll probably make a few pieces out of this model, with different angles and stuff. I think that.
Sorry, go ahead, David.
Oh yeah, no, you go. Like,
well, I was just gonna say, I love how you've set all these different camera angles. And you can go and jump into it however you want. Now that you have this huge world, you could then tell a ton of different stories. If you had a client that wanted to see, something around Hogwarts or something,
exactly.
You could give them the whole piece just from the sandbox that you built here.
Yeah, and it makes it so quick as far as, you can pretty much jump around and like art direct based on the camera you have. So, like if you're doing this like while sketching and painting traditionally or digitally, it would take literally forever. Let's see. Oh yeah, someone's asking, would you be able to add a horseman in Photoshop, or would you? Yeah, I normally like add characters like that in Photoshop, but sometimes I'd model them out in like DAZ or something, or grab a free model online or whatever, or model it out myself depending on the time. Usually. Oh yeah.
Do you sometimes get models from your clients from the project, and then you can?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, for client work, I usually I ask for everything that they can give me. Usually, occasionally, if it's freelance stuff, at least you have to fight a bit for like models, because they're like, oh, we don't want to give those out, like, but yeah, like for client stuff, it makes it a bit easier because they've already got a guy that modeled out, like super high quality, high fidelity models, like, and as far as topology, they're perfect, and all you have to do is just throw them into your scene and maybe pose it, or and they're usually rigged for you, and like all this other junk. So
that was a big part of the professional process that we were trying to bring to everyone's work. Even in portfolio work, you can have great models to jump off from. So that you can build them make your own scenes fast,
Yeah, like like having kits like this is a big help, because like say if I wanted to do this like manually, I'd have to spend like a month maybe modeling out a kit this complex, right? And then from there I'd have to like make sure that all the topologies light enough to the point where I can build out a big scene like this, and then from there actually start building the images and setting all that stuff up. So by the end of it, it could, like a month and a half of work maybe or something, and it's like
to get to
for
this point.
yeah, exactly. So
Charlie says, "Sorry about all the questions, David. No pressure."
no, it's cool.
Yeah, man, Charlie, keep bringing the questions,
More
man.
questions, the better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're here to engage with you. And then Josie 2000 says, "Hey David! Exclamation point! Will you stream the paint over?"
Oh, actually, I can just jump to that bit now, I guess.
Should we jump over? Yeah. So
Yeah, just let me save this out really quick, and then I'll open up Photoshop.
okay. While you're doing that, George Emmanuel says, "Bring Jan Urschel back!" Triple exclamation point. And Max says, "Yeah, Banks, bring Jan back." I totally agree. A question for you all. This the frequent group who has been along the streams. If we were to do some more of these, would y'all tune in with us? Question for you guys. So now you're jumping over into Photoshop, and so ordinarily
Yeah,
there'd
okay.
be, to get from where we just were, you did a
Yeah, I'd
photo
render. Yeah,
to get us
exactly.
here. So
Yep.
folks, it ordinarily wouldn't be this fast of a process. There'd be when you're doing this on your
No,
own, there'll be
I
a
just
render in
prepared.
between.
Yeah. So
Part of one thing very impressive about David for how young of a guy he is and how professional he is. I think it speaks to how prepared you are, and to come in and bring your to bring your A game, to everything that you do. I'm super stoked to see part of your process and get a window in. I think networking's a big thing. I'm trying to paint a picture of how someone of your age has had the amount of success that you've had, and I think preparation's got to be one of them, wouldn't you say?
yeah, totally. Like being prepared and thinking out your like approach to things is a big part of like how I got where I am. Being methodical pretty much. Because there's a lot of times where you can just end up like doing the same thing over and over again. You're like, oh, okay, I'll just eventually get there. But usually there's a reason why you're not where you want to be. And if you make a few slight tweaks in whatever you're doing, you can usually, excel at what you were just doing all right at.
My partner Max, who David, and of course probably everyone in the stream knows, who's actually in the stream. He's got an awesome talk that he gave in Croatia this year about being a professional, and being the business side of the artwork. And I didn't get to go to Croatia, but I got a little sneak peek of it before he left. And it was a truly awesome talk. I think that's such an underlooked at part of this business. We got to make a video of that or something, Max. Get you talking about that out here. Charlie says, "What size would the file be of the castle in landscape as you have modeled?"
Like the actual, let me check this. I'm not exactly sure as far as like gigabytes and stuff. Let's see. There we go. Render properties. There we go. 63.2 megabytes would be the like size. I rendered it at that was a 4K. So it's like I have enough fidelity to zoom in and be able to noodle around and paint on top of the castle and do whatever I want. If that answers your question.
Bingo. Max says, "Way to be prepared!" 3 exclamation points. And Kalina says, "Totally get the learn squared to do some," which I think is an interesting point, Kalina. To foreshadow what we've got coming up on Tuesday, tomorrow, Max, who we've just been talking about, will actually be streaming tomorrow morning at 10 as part of the KitBash3d festival. It also in Max's regular Tuesday at 10 a.m. spot on the Learn Squared channel. Max has, of course, got a matte painting course on Learn Squared now. George says, "Are you taking photographs by yourself for making a kind of database?" ?
So I've got like this reference library. If I go back to that, it's a mix of, stuff I took during travels and shit, and then also actual stuff I found online via whether it's like Google or Gumroads and Flickr, like and like all the other sites like that, Shutterstock, and
Have you checked out Photobash,
Yes, actually.
the level up
Yeah, yeah,
guys?
yeah. The level up
Yeah.
guys. There's a lot of cool stuff in there.
Yep.
I've got a few of their packs actually. I
I'm gonna
think.
put that in the stream
Yeah.
too, or in the comment section. Um,
Their lens flare one was super useful. Like, I used that a lot for like the Blade Runner concept stuff. Like, let's see.
yeah, photobash.org. I'm gonna put that into the stream. This is the
Yeah.
Jonas and Wotek and Derek Zabraki's resource. Really awesome site where you can go and find a whole bunch of different images, really high quality, that you can throw in any of your Photoshop work.
Let's see. This could be cool. Huh.
Oh, James Vincent is in the room. He says, "Great work. Glad I could join live." Right on, James. James has just made a piece for the KitBash3d contest, the KB3D sample kit contest that we posted to the Instagram. Super awesome work yourself,
Sick.
man. Oh, he says the contest was super fun. Pumped you enjoyed it and participated, man. We've loved watching your work along the way, dude. James Vincent. So you're making this a castle
Yeah.
on the river.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's see. Actually, I might just make that smaller. Let's mask that out. I'll probably end up going for a more painterly approach to this one.
A more painterly approach.
Yeah. Because I'll open up the other one that I was working on last night. It was a bit more like, like matte painting-y kind of. Um, let's go. Let's see.
A quick reminder to everyone in the stream that while David is live streaming, you can type in the discount code TILT15. That's TILT15. And that is courtesy of Mr. Tilton. You will get 15% off your order at KitBash3d.com. It's TILT, all caps, 15. Get them while they're hot. David, do you drink coffee?
No, actually, I've been avoiding caffeine as long as I can, because I know, so, like, everybody drinks it now. As far as like, coffee, tea, and Red Bulls during deadline times.
So you're saving it for the kick when you need it?
Yeah, exactly. So like I don't get too used to its effects. So like if I need to drink a Red Bull, I can just down one and then be ready to work for
right.
like,
It
another
does something.
Yeah, exactly. Versus having to drink like 15 or whatever and being like, oh, okay, now I feel something.
And
your heart.
Yeah, and most of it's just shaking.
Yeah, exactly. And then your heart's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I hear that. I teeter back and forth, but I got a good decade on you, so I've waited. I waited when I was your age. I didn't drink any kind of coffee or anything.
Yeah, like when you're younger, it's easier to pull all-nighters and all that junk. So.
Yeah. James Vincent says, I will say what was a great pleasure about the kit is that you could have so much geometry and it renders super fast. The kit is so well done in this regard, even with displacement and stuff. Right on, James. Pumped you are digging it, man. And Lucas says, so you don't know what pleasure is. Oh, you're talking about coffee? Yeah, right on.
Oh man, like, when I went to Portugal, I drank coffee just because it was really good coffee. But yeah, like for like a daily ritual, I usually just like, cold glass of water.
There you go. Hydration is happiness. Do you in your morning ritual, you said you stretch. Do you follow any kind of like specific practice?
No, I just learned stuff over the years pretty much. I rock climb a lot, so like staying mobile is like really important. And, being able to occasionally kick your leg up to where your head should be, and like,
Yeah.
stuff like that is super useful in that sport. So
Do you do rock climbing like in indoor gyms around LA?
both, but yeah. So there's a gym called Cliffs of Id, which is
Yeah,
in Culver City.
yeah, we like that one here too.
Yeah, yeah. So I go there a lot, and then I also go outdoors with some friends. To Malibu Creek or
Hmm.
Mount San Jacinto by Palm Springs, Joshua Tree occasionally. Places like that.
I think that's one of the best parts about LA is there's so much within a couple, a short drive. You can day trip to pretty much any kind of topography you want.
Yeah, no, it's amazing to be honest, and like I love it out here for that reason because like living back home, back on the East Coast, like if I wanted to do that, I would have had to like drive like 4 hours and then like set up a camp and because it took so long to get there and you're like dead by the time you get
Uh-huh.
there. You have
Yeah.
to you know rest and then climb the next day or later in the day or whatever and um, you can do that out here too if you want that like adventure.
Hmm.
But being able to go on day trips and stuff up to like Malibu, for example, and just climb for the like weekend or whatever,
Yeah.
super useful, and compared to what I was used to.
It's good to get out too after we stare so much at computer screens.
Yeah, like that's another big thing. Like going outside, I'm a big advocate of that. Like I know that you get better at your art by actually doing art and stuff, but actually like going out seeing nature and stuff is a really important part of it too, I think.
I totally agree. I wonder, the more and more time, I'm spending more and more time on my phone these days. Just staring into my phone, and I have to pull myself away from that. I wonder where that's going to take us.
Yeah, a lot of neck problems, right?
Right? Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
I'm already feeling it to be honest. Like
Yeah, right. From so much of this, I wonder. I bet
yeah.
the phone becomes a pair of glasses or something, and then
I hope
the neck
Google
problems go away.
Glasses. That's what we need, right?
Have you tried out a pair of Google glasses?
Yeah, like a demo pair that
Yeah.
was I think like some dude was like what was it at the Third Street Promenade down here in Santa Monica.
Uh huh. They had a little
They were
demo.
yeah, they had a little demo. So I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll give it a try."
Yeah. The hardware's not there yet, but you know
It's getting there, yeah, which is cool to see.
we've got Stephen Corman joined us in the chat room. What's up, Stephen?
Oh shit, not the pressure's real now.
Yeah, man, you got Stephen and Max
Okay.
going back and forth. Good
Yeah,
luck.
I
Good
know,
luck to you,
right?
David.
And is Justin still in there? Like, holy shit.
Gobi Fields around. You got to pull out
Uh,
the big tricks now.
yeah, jeez. Okay.
Steven, man, your image that we posted over the weekend from the festival was so awesome, dude. So awesome, man. Max says, typical Steve.
Um, let's see. So right now I'm just trying to build up some depth for the image.
Mm-hmm. What tool are you using there?
So that I was just like I opened up the clown mask, which pretty much segments out the geo
Mm-hmm.
based on what group it's in and stuff, to make a selection, and I was just using like a soft round and like a cloud brush to go in there and just throw some fog in there. And then, from there, I usually just start color grading on top of that. So once I get all my photos and stuff in, I'll usually approach it like that for most images. If I'm painting something, I'll do it completely different, and it's a big mess of a process for that. But like as far as production, I try to stick with this one because it's predictable. Let's see. Let's see.
In Photoshop, do you find that you're spending a lot of time all the way zoomed back, or do you go in and does it
Uh,
help you to get into the tiny details zoomed in?
so I stay zoomed out as much as possible, like around here, usually maybe like 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then from there, like if I'm adding like crazy like details, like putting stained glass on these windows, for example, or
Uh-huh.
like adding stuff like that, then I'll zoom in, but I try to stay zoomed out as much as possible. And I always like whenever say if I'm zoomed in this much and noodling around on top of here or whatever, you know, then I just always constantly zoom back out or use the navigator up here
Uh-huh.
and just look at that to make sure that it's still affecting my thumbnail because I think it was Jamie Jones that said this, but if he stops seeing like the effects of his like paint strokes in his navigator window,
Mm-hmm.
then he knows that he should stop working on the image. Um,
Yeah, just lost in the detail.
yeah, exactly. And that's how I like to approach it, unless they specifically request like, oh, we want to be able to zoom into this part of a space station or whatever and see like
Mm-hmm.
blah blah blah, and it's like okay, then you have to. Um,
But at the end of the day, how fast in concept are you turning over work? Like how fast are you working?
Usually I try to get 2 to 3 images done a day. Um, to like my like wait, I'll open this real quick. Let's see. To like this quality. Once this opens on
Oh,
the stream.
sweet.
And it usually takes me like an hour, like like sometimes if the render's really nice, I'll just color grade it really quickly and throw some photos in there and call it a day. But other times like I'll spend 4 hours on it or something and push it a bit farther.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So then the broad strokes become more important than the details at that stage.
yeah, exactly. So like uh, trying to block in shapes and stuff and figure out how you want the light to lead to your focal point.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll show the original render. Let's drag this up here. So that was the render.
Yeah. Right.
So like it gives you enough of a base to play with, and then from there you can start going crazy pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll do a little breakdown of this since it looks prettier than the last one.
Sweet.
Okay, cool. Let me switch to my mouse really quick. Should be quicker.
Nice crispy bacon says atmosphere is juice.
Yes, that Atmo.
That Atmo is juice must mean cool.
Yeah, it's like yeah, like juicy. Like it's like it's nice to look at. It's like eye candy.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
He or she says, "Image looking great already." And then
ooh,
Bien Coupe says, "Oh, good, bacon's here."
ooh, bacon.
Um, and Max checks me, says, "It is what the cool kids are saying these
Yeah.
days."
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to get in the game, Max. You got to keep me up to speed with this kind of stuff.
But
Uh,
okay.
Charlie asks, "How would you use a shot like this as a concept piece for a movie?"
Okay, so this would be more of like a mood and establishing shot. So like let's say this was like the back end of Harry Potter or something, if you've seen those movies. And Voldemort and his army is like, coming down on Hogwarts or whatever, right? And getting ready to, fuck shit up pretty much. You want to convey like a really dark mood, rain, which is generally depressing whenever, you see rain. Um, having, like ominous crows in there and shit like that. And just trying to approach it in a way that would make, like a director be like, oh, yeah, that's like what we're going for. And yeah.
Charlie, I know he said it earlier, is coming from an engineering background, and so I think does that hit the answers of your question? I think he might be asking
I,
a broader question of like
I
what is
can.
concept art?
Oh, okay. If he's going at it for that, it's just conveying a design or a mood and an image, and presenting it in a interesting way. I know some guys that do practical stuff or they concept completely in 3D. Like Alex Fagini is a good example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he does a lot of his work using 3D and then composites together in Photoshop. Or like Steve Messing's another example, a lot of 3D. Or there's guys that paint primarily, like guys like Kong Lee, Jamie Jones, Craig Mullins, John Park now is going super painterly and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as what the correct process to make an image is, there isn't one, so that's all up to you. And it's just making it really cool and like hitting that level of coolness, I guess. Like, and
Do you find in your portfolio it's really helpful when approaching new clients to have both like almost photoreal or nearly production ready looks as well as brushstrokes? And
yeah, because some directors prefer more painterly stuff. That's just like what their eye tends to lean towards.
mm-hmm.
And then there's the guys that really like seeing the like super crisp, high detail, high, like low contrast, like really photoreal, like
Yeah,
looking stuff.
so they can get it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like they can pretty much just tell, like if it's pre-production stuff, they can tell like like their director of photography, this is what we're going for, kind of, and
Mm-hmm.
like this is how you should set up the lights to kind of go in this general direction or whatever.
Yeah,
Um, so
dependent upon the director's preferred
yeah, their taste
language.
pretty much.
Yeah. Do you
Let's
feel it's
see.
really important to have a really diverse portfolio, or have you found it's been helpful when just showcasing, here's what I do and here's how I do it?
Um, Starting out, maybe have a diverse one if you're desperate for work. But to be honest, I think just sticking with what you love and getting really good at that is the best way about approaching it. And then, clients will eventually come to you once you hit that,
Mm-hmm.
good enough level in their eyes.
And
And then,
we show what you do.
yeah, exactly. And then at that point, it won't be work anymore.
Uh-huh.
Like it will just be fun. You'll just be playing pretty much. And that's the best way of approaching a career, I think.
Do do you have days that feel like work, and then do you have a lot of days that don't feel like work?
Yeah, there's a pretty even mix of that stuff. depending on how stressful the day is and all that. But I always try to take a step back and, you know, like recenter myself kind of, and, you know, like talk to myself and be like, wait, you're doing this as a job. You should be, no matter how shitty it is, as far as like how many revisions and, you know, like all the, you know, how much, you know, stuff you have to do that at the time is kind of boring or whatever. You're still getting paid to make, you know, epic images and shit, and like work on films, and, you know, like,
Yeah.
there's no beating it, you know.
That's great perspective, David. Yeah, I think life is purely dependent upon what you choose to focus on. You know, and at any point you can be like, hey, this is shit. I'm 16 hours in. I can't get these people happy. I can't get the job that I want, or I can't achieve it. Or you can say, hey, I'm living the total dream and literally drawing dreams for
Exactly.
my rent.
Yeah, that's the oh man. So yeah, let's see. As far as this image, so I started off with a render, did a quick radio blur on top of it, and then we go back down to the Z depth on top of that, which I got from the render, and then I also made some 3D rain, back in. I used 3D Coat for that. We should open that up really quick.
Parkour Tomo says, that's some spicy, creamy juice right there. Gotta say,
thanks, Thomas.
I gotta say, I would agree. Charlie says, would you use this instead of a full 3D, etc., and offer it to the art director instead of a full 3D export? 3D Coat for the rain.
Yeah, so I used 3D Coat for this rain here, and imported it in. But as his question,
Yeah, that was two different questions. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So would I present the final, like this with the color grade and stuff to the art director? Was that what he was saying?
Would you use this instead of full 3D, etc., and offer it to the art director?
Yeah, because it conveys more than just a 3D render, you know. Of course, you can push the 3D to a point where, you know, it's really crazy and cool looking. You've got the color grade integrated already, you know, that's attached to your camera or whatever, and go from there. Like what Steve Corman does, if he's still in the chat. He's really good at that.
Yeah, Steve.
But personally, I like using Photoshop because you know, like that's what I started with. I started out as like a painter, and then learned photo bashing, then learned 3D, and then threw them all together, and you know, that's where I'm at now. Cool.
Steve Corman's still here.
Still here. Woo. Cool. So.
Looks great.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks. So from here, I added like, you know, started detailing it up, drawing photos on top, crows and stuff, which is just like a bird brush, you know, darkening up some bits really quick, threw a river in from the same photo of this guy here, then color graded, which is where the magic happens. Because I don't, you know, it's this is what I always find super fun, and I'm like, it always, you know, gets me happy. Like, you know, having it go from this point to, you know, like the finish pretty much. Because, you know, it's like a huge difference as far as
tone and style.
Tone and everything. Exactly. It really brings the whole thing together. So, you know, it's just a bunch of like curves layers pretty much, and adjusting levels and
how did you learn to grade?
Trial and error. It's like you'll see, like if I show you, like all my drives are almost full right now, and especially this guy here. It's because there's so many failed attempts that I just, you know, they're still there, and I'll eventually go back to them maybe, or I'll just throw them out, or the drive will die or whatever. But I don't know. I just like keeping all my failed attempts as like a memorial to my, hours spent.
Uh-huh. I'm the same way. I like to keep everything. I don't like to delete because I just think at some point I'm gonna get real nostalgic.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then end up going back, or even like, showing people that are just starting out and they want to see your old work or whatever, and like see where you came from, how you progressed and stuff. Like having that to go back on and pull from is good because eventually you cycle out all your old work to where it's pretty much all gone as far as portfolio and online presence, right? So.
If we get to do this again, let's break into the archives and see some of your
Oh
progress.
man, yeah, totally. That'll be be scary, man. That'll be super scary.
BNQP warns us: careful, you may one day be diagnosed as a hoarder, a digital hoarder.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. That's what I'm gonna be. I've already come to terms with that.
Yeah, I'm seeing someone about it.
Yeah,
The Breaker Blue asks why the brown bricks.
because brown bricks are the best bricks.
There you go. There you go.
That's
Bingo. Well, dude, this is looking so rad. What is this? Is this to you to the end, or are there
no,
more
no.
steps?
Okay, so I guess I'll jump onto that now. So from here, I've got my adjustments, and now it's like the 3D render looks nice and stuff and all that. But from here, then I'd start painting on top of it, and getting it to a point where it's a bit painterly. There's soft edges and stuff. So I'll just close this stuff really quick, and just jump onto that. So this is the point where like I'd maybe start like zooming in occasionally, just to like get in there, and especially with this because there's like a bunch of like more high fidelity stuff. So like I wanted to simplify this, and then start smudging it a bit and trying to.
You put those stained glass windows in there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So if I go back here, it should be like these guys. Just,
Yeah,
quick
there
photo
you go.
bash. They're like, this one's out of perspective, and it's like, but it's just for the colors, really. Then, once you throw your adjustments and stuff back on, everything, looks
Right.
fine. Then once you start smudging stuff, it's like, oh, okay.
Because in this part of the business, it's all about just cranking things out that
Yeah,
can
exactly.
really give the feeling. Right.
Yeah.
It's a unique perspective.
And then like once I'm gonna like paint over this, and it's gonna like destroy the rain, but I've got masks for the rain that I'll just, mask on top, make a mask of those on top of the paint, pretty much. Call it a day. Let's see. But at this point, it's just simplifying, like the super high fidelity stuff because, like, for example, like the details back here, like I don't really need these, and they take away from the image, I think. Because, you know, if you look over there, like, oh, well, what is that? It's like, there's like all this crazy, intricate, you know, carvings and stuff. And those can end up taking away from your main focal point.
Where do you want the viewer's eye to go, and do you think about it moving across your image?
Yeah. So like right now, I'm trying to have it go here. You know? Um, so you know, I tried to have like some sort of triangle, like cut across. You know, by having a silhouette breakup. I lost this guy back here. Um, and you know, having this river curve in, and pretty much you know everything. So far, I've tried to like pop this guy out as much as possible. Like even like the ring back here to pop out the silhouette and all of this. But of course, you know, like as you work, you keep pushing it. So you know, I'll probably end up like you know, maybe like having a light on in here or something to pop this out even more, or maybe like a moon, like a you know, like a moonbeam, like a god ray from the moon coming down or something, you know. Or whatever.
There you go. That's where my brain goes. I start thinking about like who lives there and what's the life like behind the windows in the rain.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's where the fun stuff really comes in, you know. Because then you can be like, oh, maybe it's like Dracula in there, or maybe it's like it's just a really shitty day and that's like a princess in there and she's like, you know, you know.
Trapped in the water, trapped
Yeah,
in
yeah,
her
exactly.
emotions.
Yeah, exactly. Yes,
So I've got a question for the Twitch stream out there. How many of y'all are watching the stream? How many of y'all are just listening to it in the background? How many of you have got other things going on, popped up on your screen as you work? How are you experiencing this? Question for y'all.
that's a good one.
Listening while working, says nice crispy bacon. Dual screen, one work, one Twitch. Charlie's watching. Dual screen, we got watching. Right on. Sweet. Watching and painting, says Kalina.
That's the way to do it.
Kalina, by the way, broke out the sample kit and turned out something really cool, I thought. For the sample kit contest, we got listening and doing other stuff, but glancing over, says Faithless Zealot. Right on. Watching it work, trying not to get caught, says the Breaker Blue. We got the same while working. We got listening and working, listening while working. Sammy listening to it and watching. I can't miss out on David's sexy voice. Good point. Finn Paint says, while working, sick today, sadly, but so great to hear David's beautiful voice on the beat in the background on the awesome stream. Working while watching on the second screen, watching and working, rendering, so watching and listening on my phone, says James. Julio says, trying to watch in my third monitor while I'm sculpting in ZBrush. Nice, man. Kalina says, hey, Finn. And Lucas is Twitch and Photoshop at the same time. Right on. You're watching Twitch of Photoshop while working in Photoshop. Watching and working, says Joshua Gilbreth. Cool. Thank you for keeping us updated. Baby Smog HD says, what is this? A little more specificity, please, Baby Smog. Josie says, bring the stream back. Oh, there we go. Finn. Yeah. Finn paints. Right on. Baby Smog says, what are you drawing? Question mark.
It's a castle. overlooking this river that's almost dried up, and with some crows and yeah. I don't. It's just a demo for the kind people over at KitBash3d.
Who is that? That was Baby Smog. Yeah, this is the KitBash3d festival that you have jumped onto, and David TIlton here is taking his time on the stage to build this whole thing using the Gothic kit from KitBash3d. He says, hi. Speaking of, we got a bunch of new people on the stream. If y'all haven't heard this, we have a coupon code courtesy of David. That is TILT, TILT 15. TILT is all caps. And then 15 after that. If you use that right now till the end of David's stream, you can get 15% off your entire order at the KitBash3d.com store. So I'll put that in here. That's the coupon code, and here's the website. So there you can get any of our 3D architectural asset kits, which include the one you're seeing David working on now. Also, if you're new to the KitBash3d Festival, you can see it's been so kindly presented by the awesome folks at Learn Squared, which is how you find us on their Twitch stream today. And if you are a subscriber to them, you can go back and see some of the other great artist sets that have happened over the last couple weeks. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. where none other than Max Berman will be streaming with us right here. And then also on Wednesday in that same time slot, we have Ash Thorpe. So coming to the stage, we got a fun week.
That'll be a fun stream.
Yeah, I'm excited about. We've been excited about this whole week, David. We're pumped to have you on here today, my man.
Oh, thanks. Let's see.
You are the youngest artist on the KitBash3d stream at 21 years young. I think it's so cool to see.
Oh man, that's.
See, thinking about you saying you found in, Game Informer magazine 5 years ago.
Yeah.
What a concept artist was, and now 5 years later, you're rocking out on Doctor Strange and Thor and Black Panther amongst Blade Runner, and to get to do that in such just a half a decade is so rad.
Yeah, like it's kind of like I attribute a lot of it to luck. Because I know like a lot of people that are my age, they're still trying to, they started around the same time as me, and they're still pursuing it, so I feel fortunate to be where I am.
And I'm hoping, and I'm sure that you will continue to grow and explore and keep finding new parts about this that light you up.
Yeah, totally. Like, it's an endless journey pretty much, this whole art thing, so.
Mm-hmm. And such is life.
Yeah, right. It's like everything you do, it's like you always find a way to like nitpick a bit,
That's an interesting point. I like to call that the crow that sits on my shoulder and tells me all the things my fear says about me. How do you deal with your own judgment?
So at first I just ignore it for a bit, but
Handy skill.
yeah. But after a while, I just keep building and building and building, to the point where you can't just push it aside anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd start just going at it and addressing what needed to be addressing as far as whether it was something that I was insecure about with my art or whatever, or more personal stuff, or whatever it is.
Why did you flip the image here to work on it in the way you're doing now?
To get another view on it, because that this entire time I've been working on it, and the previous flip. So it gives me like a fresh perspective on it, and lets me see possible mistakes, which help a ton when you're trying to bust something out within a day versus within a week.
Right. That's a cool little tip for anyone out there. If you're feeling like you need a fresh look at what you're working on, just flip the image. Lucas says 21 question mark. Is that even legal to use Photoshop? And Charlie says, looks like a very cool piece of software enabling the user to quickly pull together a scene and gives a great eye-opener into how the concept artist might present ideations.
Yeah, totally. Like, like you can pretty much do anything you could do traditionally in Photoshop, but it's just faster. And now you've got like 3D tools with the CC versions. Like I'm on CS6 because that's just my preferred version, but the newer versions have way more functionality as far as 3D.
The Photoshop CC.
Yeah, the CC, they're on like 20, is it year by year or do they skip years? I'm not sure. Last time I heard it was like 2015 or whatever.
Right, I think that's right. I'm not sure. Who knows out there?
Yeah.
And Charlie, for anyone else who's new to KitBash3d, we have a sample kit contest going on right now. So if you go to KitBash3d.com, you can download a free sample kit of the kit, the Gothic kit that David's using right now. When you download your kit, you just type in your email and we send you a link for your free sample kit. Build something with it and then post it. And the winner at the end of the festival, all the artists are going to check out all the work and take a vote. And the winner of that contest will get a free Gothic kit. But it's the perfect way to check out the kits, the assets, and see how they work in any 3D software that you use. So these will work in Photoshop or Cinema 4D like we've seen here, but throughout the tour, the festival, we've also seen them in Maya and ZBrush and a whole host of software. So check them out for yourself, see what you think. Finn Paint says, what could be interesting as well would be if you import the KitBash set into VR in Oculus Medium or another program. Testing it out in there, you could walk around in the city like you are a resident. That is a cool idea, Finn. Hit us up, info@kitbash3d.com. Take a look. Pull it in, see if you see what you find in there. If you explore with the kit, let us know what you find. They are mid-poly count, so get your machine moving. For Mr. Tilt, I have 2 Facebooks, one with all my pro friends and one with my fam friends. Do you do the same? Because I kind of regret having 2. Do you have 2 Facebook accounts?
No, I just have one. But over the years, I've made it more art geared, So like, I slowly unfollowed like people that weren't in the industry, just to make it more of a just art centric kind of newsfeed. I kind of regret doing that now, so I'm going back and refollowing all my old friends and stuff. But during the time of coming up and trying to get a foothold, yourself, right? Yeah, exactly. It made it a bit easier instead of like having to like go through your family stuff and then figure out like which industry stuff you actually want to follow or like stuff like that. And that's where having 2 is good, but you can just unfollow them now and follow them again later.
So to all of David's old Facebook friends,
you're back now, don't worry.
Yeah, y'all are still cool.
Yeah.
Have you done anything in VR, David?
Yeah, a bit. I was actually just over Finian's house. Finn Paints over there in the chat.
There you go.
This was it 2 days ago, and we were messing around with he has an Oculus over at his place. But yeah, at Luma, I'd mess around with it for a bit. And yeah, like it's really versatile, and I think it's the best way to model right now, just because of the interaction you get with your model. It's like really like using clay in real life. It's
Yeah.
the closest thing I think.
Right.
Like it used to be 3D coat that was like the go-to for like, oh, it feels like drawing in 3D or just like real sculpting or whatever. And before that it was ZBrush and then but I think with the VR stuff, I think they're, you know, really hitting the nail on the head kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Justin Goby Fields was saying last week how at THU he tried out a Oculus Medium demo and said it
Oh
was just
yes.
awesome.
Yeah, that was my like that's where I spent most of the time with between there and Luma, THU and Luma was because they had a booth set up down in this like bunker area
Mm-hmm.
with like they had like 10 headsets or something. And you could, there's a main demo room and then there's also smaller booths where they had some VR headsets.
Yeah. Some really cool stuff out there. Philly Zhang says tilt brush exclamation points and then yo with like 48 yos.
Hey Pally, how's it going? Oh man.
And the Breaker Blue says I watched the creation of all the kits firsthand. It's lit. Right on the Breaker.
Good old
Um,
Will Bow.
Charlie says I tried the VR stream in Toronto. There's a storefront on Queen Street West. I tried to paint model a car. It was amazing. Would be a great tool for engineering. Take the client on a tour of his facility as if it was being built live.
Yeah, like the possibilities for VR is endless at this point. Like eventually I'm seeing it being used in schools and stuff, like
Oh yeah.
or even like let's say you go to Rome or something, right? And they give you a pair of like Google glasses that have like AR, VR stuff built into it, right? And you can walk around the ruins, the old Roman ruins, right? But they're rebuilt and they've got holograms and like all this other stuff, presented to you as if it was there in real life.
Yeah.
So like stuff like that's really exciting. And then also just being like, as far as work stuff is being able to show your director exactly what you're thinking and having them be able to like float around and see it in real time.
I feel like there are two real big factors that determine how I behave, and that's what takes my time and what's convenient. Depending on those two levers, that determines what I do with my day in day out. And I feel like VR opens up possibilities in so many different categories for that, to save me time or to bring me convenience. Can I get to Rome from my living room?
Yeah, or stuff like that. Like VR is where that will, you won't have to do the AR thing if you have like high-end VR stuff.
Once the hardware catches up.
Yeah, that exactly.
Couple years probably.
Yeah, they're supposed to release a wireless Oculus soon, right?
That's right. Yeah, lots of untethered headsets supposed to come out this year.
Yeah, that's gonna be super exciting. Because that's the reason why I haven't bought one yet myself.
We had Emmanuel Shu on last week who worked on he did concepts for Ready Player One, which if y'all haven't read it is the coolest, in my opinion, book about like VR from like a Charlie
also
and the Chocolate Factory kind of way.
all the pop culture references too are amusing.
Super fun. And so that Spielberg directed, that comes out in March, which I believe will be the biggest advertisement for VR to date.
Yeah, hopefully people will be like, oh, that's actually real. I'm gonna go invest in that now.
Yeah. A lot of talk about Stockholm here. Charlie says, I was in Stockholm and met a couple of surveyors who were making a point cloud model of the palace. Perfect example. There you go. And Pally says, RPO is amazing. 6 exclamation points. It's cool watching the individual texturing that you're doing, the things that where you're making things pop and how you're making them go.
Thanks. Yeah, it's I don't know, it's a lot of feeling it out kind of,
Mm-hmm.
and just seeing what might work and what won't.
Right. On this gothic dam of sorts.
Yeah, exactly. I like dams a lot, actually, as far as like does that like a motif to go with?
Well, for some reason we stopped streaming.
Oh,
Uh, can y'all see us out there? For some reason on my feed.
let's see. Let's see if it cuts off on my screen. It's still on, they say.
It's still on. Oh,
Okay,
right on.
okay, they're there. Okay, cool.
Well,
Okay.
thank you all. I can't see it anymore, but there we go. Sweet. Thanks everyone.
Let's see.
David, if you'll excuse me for 1 second, I'll be right back.
Yeah, totally. So, how are you guys in the chat doing? Fucking. Oh my god. Breaker Blue. It's awesome. Yeah, Finn, actually, it was my master plan, so you could watch my stream, you know? Dominic, everyone's sick. Yeah, jeez. Oh, there's a swarm. Oh, wait, here we go. I'll just throw one in here really quick. Do they even look like it? There's hooded, right? There's hooded, cloaked. I don't even know, right? No, this is practice. For like it's a demo for KitBash3d, which is run by Max Berman and Banks, who just returned.
All right, I'm back.
Hey, welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Cool.
We got David. Where's the flying Death Eaters, man?
They'll be there. They'll be there.
They're coming. What monitor do you use? Barkod asks.
Okay, geez, I don't even remember the model name, but they're super old and I've had them for a while. They're like 10-year-old monitors. But they've been holding up. Like they're Dell. So the colors are good and stuff. And until they die on me, then I'll buy a new one. But they're like what, like 32-inch each. So I've got dual monitors.
I'm just catching up on these comments. Did you?
Oh yeah,
You stayed in touch.
Yes.
Got him.
Yeah. I'm interacting. Yeah. I got you.
Man, you're on it, dude. You're on it.
Yeah. No, I used to stream games and stuff, so I'm used to like the whole interacting with the chat thing.
Have you worked on the concept side of games?
Uh, it's just like indie stuff, nothing AAA yet, and I want to eventually, I think, just to feel out that side of the industry and see how that is. Because it's super interesting, and I imagine as far as world building and all that other stuff, you get to go 10 times more in depth because you have way more resources as far as being able to have your 3D modelers just build everything instead of having to build a set out and find actors and all this other stuff.
Right. Yeah, I know Max has really enjoyed his time on all the AAA titles and game cinematics that he's gotten to do.
Yeah, like, didn't he work on Dark Souls? Right?
Max, are you out there?
Did he do? I think he did. I think that was him.
Let's find out. Max,
See if he's still here.
Yeah.
But
Fool X says, okay, thanks, Derek. Just a reminder, I know it says Derek Zabraki down there at the bottom, but this is actually David TIlton on the microphone. Not me.
I wish I was Derek.
the voice you hear.
Oh, man. If I had his painting skills.
You're doing just fine.
Okay, thanks, man.
Sweet. Yeah, Dark Souls 2 and Destiny. Thank you, Ben QP. So Max worked on Dark Souls 2, Titanfall. He's working on League of Legends, a bunch of the game cinematic stuff. And
oh, sick. Man, like, what was it? Dark Souls, though, that's like
that's your game?
like all time, yeah. Like, holy shit. Like, between that and, like, let's see. Have you ever played Players Unknown Battlegrounds?
I've not, but super.
Yeah, so it's like this. You've heard of it, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like, there was a point where I'd play like every night. It was pretty bad.
Nice. Well, and games can be a great way to connect with people, man. I think.
Oh yeah, totally. Like my first real interactions with Jama back in the day were via StarCraft 2. And
playing him in StarCraft.
Oh, we were in a team together. Like we had so from there, like I think he'd always play like Terran or something, and I was always a Zerg guy. And he was way better than me, so he'd rage a lot, which is super funny to see. But he was super good at both art and StarCraft, which is a hard thing to do.
That's awesome. So that's where you first met Jama, was online playing games.
Pretty much, yeah.
Mr. Craig Mullins is in the room, and he says, nice work.
Oh, well, okay. That's a nice username.
And then, what we got? Sorry for those who missed the host introduction. Oh, who is the moderator here? I am Banks. Thank you for your question, Bryce Wiss. I am Banks with KitBash3d. And in case you missed some of the other stuff, this is the KitBash3d Festival. We got David TIlton on the stage. We've been going here. We're so happy that Learn Squared has partnered up with us to present this, which is how you find us on their Learn Squared stream. KitBash3d launched 3 weeks ago tomorrow. And we offer 3D architectural assets like the ones you see David working with here. He is working with the Gothic kit.
Yes.
If you go onto KitBash3d.com, you can see a whole bunch of different kits that we have. We have four out now, and plenty more coming. Which is another good point. I should tell you, David has been so generous with his time here and rocking out this painting with us. And for the rest of the time that he is streaming, we have a coupon code, which is TILT, TILT 15. It's all caps, TILT 15. And that, for the time that David is streaming, will get you 15% off anything in the KitBash3d.com store. So go on and get them while you can. And while David is streaming, those will be live for you.
Cool. Let's see, there's some questions in the chat now.
Yeah. Fool X asks, anyone ask how you handle your day or your routine? We talked a little bit about that, but sure.
Yeah, I can give a full rundown. I've got my schedule. So I make a schedule and I put it on a whiteboard that's right next to my desk. So it's like let's see, eat breakfast, figure drawing, stretch, workout, and that's like from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. and then I try to segment it hour to hour. 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. is sketch and personal work. And then, lunch, and then 1 to 6 p.m. is client work, and then 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. is dinner time, then 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. is more client work, and then anything after that is either sleep or do personal stuff like play guitar, watch a movie, game, stuff like that.
How long have you been playing guitar?
10 years now.
Bam.
Or, 9-10 years, I guess. Yeah.
Was that one of your first creative loves?
Yeah, well, that and like copying manga and video game covers,
Sweet.
But yeah, I still try to keep up with it. I don't play as much as I used to, but when I do, it feels really good.
Max Berman asks, what game you playing?
What game do I play the most? Players Unknown Battlegrounds, aka PUBG, and Counter-Strike Go.
Speaking of PUBG, Pally just asks. Exactly. Oh, and you play Counter-Strike?
Yeah, do you guys play?
Man, when I was in high school, I went to a boarding school, and my freshman year, my whole dorm got obsessed with it, and that was really long before,
Was that like 1.6 or something when you had to do like LAN parties and stuff?
Totally, exactly. Yeah.
Dude, I used to when I was younger. So like my dad got me into this stuff like super young as far as gaming. So I'd always go with him to like LAN parties and shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like Half-Life Deathmatch and Counter-Strike 1.6 and stuff.
Son of a gamer.
Yeah.
Right on, man. The games are so rad. There's so much cool stuff that you can do now.
Yeah, totally. Like I'm really excited to see like Red Dead Redemption 2, for example. They just dropped a trailer a bit ago. And that looks amazing. Like that's gonna blow everything else out of the water, I think, as far as how a game works.
What do you think are the big key points about that's going to change? What will Red
Dead Redemption 2 will do differently? Yeah. It's so like graphic fidelity is a big one. Rockstar just knows how to really push an engine, and especially for console stuff, which from what I understand, at least is hard to do. Like figuring out how to use all your resources to the best way possible. Like getting the most out of every little bit of RAM and CPU power and GPU power. So that, and then also like character animation for the game itself is crazy. Like for example, when like in the trailer, they usually just show like game engine footage, so there's like no like pre-rendered cutscene kind of things. It's all using the same engine, and which is really impressive. But like as far as the animation, it's like when a guy shoots or something, he'll blink when he's shooting, from the like shock of the shot, and like like little things like that. It's like wow, Then I really enjoy that attention to detail, and that's like what gets it to like that almost film quality.
Yeah. Stepping a little bit away from the uncanny valley.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, of course, there's still a bit of it, but it's getting better and better.
Yeah.
Especially for a game, like of course, like film VFX stuff. It's already hitting a really good level. So, but games are still getting there. Yeah.
Are you done?
I am. I'm pulling up the Red Dead Redemption trailer. I'm gonna put it in the stream.
Yeah. But I'll probably have to start wrapping up this soon, and then I'll finish
Cool,
the
man.
rest of this later on tonight.
I mean, we can't thank you enough for how much of your time you've given us and sharing your insights with all of us. And the stream has been packed with tons of great comments. And thank you everyone who has joined us here in the stream and all the way along the KitBash3d Festival. This has been so fun. Be sure to check in with us tomorrow at 10 a.m. right back here. We've got none other than Max Berman coming to the stage. And then on Wednesday at 10 a.m. we've got Ash Thorpe. So please do check back in and join in with us on the fun. Also, speaking of joining in with us on the fun, go to our website and download the sample kit if you have not already. You can get a free sample kit. And for the rest of the festival, we are having the KitBash3d contest, which there you can take your sample kit and you can, anything you build with it, post hashtag KB3D contest, and we'll check it out. All the artists will get a good look at it. We'll repost them. So get out there, engage with us. Also, we will leave this open for the next few minutes for those of you who are jumping off the stream when we end here. But David has a coupon code for you. It's TILT, TILT 15, and that's all caps, TILT 15. So if you go to kitbash3d.com, you can use that coupon code to get 15% off your entire order. That'll only be for a few more moments, so if you want to jump in on that action, get in on the game. To you, David, thank you, man.
Yeah, totally. Anytime, really. Like, it was a pleasure being on here.
Well, we're gonna take you up on that anytime thing. Let's get you back out here and do this again.
Cool.
Tremendous thanks to Learn Squared for having us out. For all of you all in the stream, this is about you guys and for you guys. So please keep joining us. Keep bringing your awesome interaction, and let us know how we can serve you better. We are here to make something awesome for you guys. So let us know what you want. Let us know what we can do better to be helping y'all get your needs met. We are a resource for you. Jim Ross says, awesome Harry Potter image. Thanks for the stream.
Thanks, man.
Bryce Wiss, thanks guys. To all of you out there, thanks so much. David?
Yeah, if anybody wants to hit me up, and ask questions, I'll be available on Facebook or whatever, or I'll stay in the chat for a bit longer.
And also on
thanks.
all of our social media platforms, we have posted images of David with links to him. So if you go on there, you can find exactly how to get to David, whatever your Facebook, InstaFace, tweet.
Yeah.
You want. Well, awesome. This has been so fun, man, and what a rocking image and a great way to get to see your particular process, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Alrighty, everybody. Until next time.
Cool. See you guys.